Fried rice is probably the Chinese dish that seems to trip people up the most, but it doesn't have to be that way. See, what we want in a fried rice is loose, fluffy, individual grains of rice, not too wet and not too dry. And luckily, getting to this point is far from rocket science. You don't have to know how to fling things around like a pro, and you definitely don't need any sort of jet engine burner. Of course, the thing that everybody loves about fried rice is that you can really just toss in whatever you want. So while we will be teaching you using an awesome classic spicy fried rice from the Guizhou province called Guailu炒饭, don't feel obliged to mimic this guy 100%, because while ingredients can be local, techniques are universal. Now, if you look at the vast majority of fried rice recipes, they'll start with day-old rice. It's drier and fries up better. And while there's definitely ways that you can hack your way forward using fresh rice, they do kind of go against the whole essence of the dish. See, fried rice is leftover food. Making rice fresh just to make fried rice would kind of be like roasting a whole turkey and making cranberry sauce just to make a Thanksgiving sandwich. You could do it, but you'd sort of be missing the point. So then, to start it all off, here comes the part where we say, rinse your rice, toss it in a rice cooker, and follow your machine's instructions. Then once you're done eating your fill of white rice, toss the remainder in the fridge uncovered. Then the next day, that will become your fried rice. But Chris, Steph, you ask, I don't own a rice cooker. What should I do? And after I finish a quick lecture on why you should really just buy a damn rice cooker, we are happy to report that in our test, the very best rice for fried rice doesn't come from a zoji rushi. The best rice for fried rice is steamed. So right, to go the steaming route, first wash 230 grams of jasmine rice about 3 or 4 times. This will get off a bit of the surface starch and avoid any potential gloopiness. Now get a pot of water up to a boil and dump the rice in. You won't need to worry about the water quantity here because what we're doing is parboiling our rice first. Just 2.5 minutes over a high flame should be enough. All we're looking for is for the rice to lose its translucency and look obviously white. So now, of course, just grab your trusty colander and drain that all over a sink. Now, to a steaming tray lined with a wet cloth, toss your now parboiled rice in. Then just move that over some bubbling water and steam it for 10 minutes. This is a really traditional way of cooking white rice and has the decided advantage that it can make for a lot of rice. Instead of that steaming tray, a common sight is seeing people opt for these huge rice buckets instead, which is definitely a cool route if you can find a way to source one. So then after that time, shut off the heat and let it sit for 5 minutes. And then just remove your rice, fluff, and enjoy as you would enjoy white rice. That said, another advantage of this steaming method is that in a pinch you can use this stuff fresh for fried rice. That said, it'll still be a touch on the wet side at this point and will be much better the next day. So for us, we'll leave this in the fridge and get back to it all tomorrow. So next day now, let's go over this spicy Guizhou freestyle fried rice. Now, there's 4 major flavors that form the foundation of this dish. First and foremost being a fermented chili paste called zhaolajiao. Now, in all likelihood, even if you have access to an awesome Chinese supermarket like a Ranch 99, you're not going to be able to find zhaolajiao. For the obsessive out there, last week we tossed a video on how to ferment the stuff at home, but today we'll be subbing it with something that you can find at most Chinese supermarkets, duojiao, Hunanese chopped chilies. Compared to the Guizhou sort, it's a bit less finely pounded and goes lighter on the aromatics, so we'll be tossing a tablespoon's worth in a mortar together with the white part of 1 scallion, an inch of ginger, and 3 cloves of garlic, all roughly chopped. Now just give that all a quick pound for about 2 minutes or so, and that is going to form the base of the fried rice. So right, Guizhou fried rice component number 2, some kind of smoked cured pork. Here we're using 20 grams worth of a Guizhou-style smoked la rou, aka Chinese bacon. You could potentially swap that for some country ham, and in a pinch, a quality smoked bacon would hit a lot of the same notes. Then besides those, you just can't have a Guizhou Guailu炒饭without some soy sauce, and of course, some dark Chinese vinegar. Those 4 components are musts in our opinion. Then besides that, we've also got the green portion of that scallion that we chopped up before, 15 grams of swan cai, Chinese pickled cabbage, and swapping that for some minced and thoroughly squeezed kimchi or sauerkraut would also be perfectly delicious. 20 grams of zhi'ergun, aka fish wort, which we know that you won't be able to find. In an ideal world, we'd sub that for cilantro root, but some chopped cilantro also works pretty good. Besides that, we've also got a 1/4 cup of canned kidney beans, rinsed to remove the slime, and 2 tablespoons worth of cracklins. Now, these are a Guizhou style of cracklins called cui shao. We were thinking some American style cracklins would also be pretty great, but you might want to chop them up into something a bit more bite-sized. Alternatively, you could potentially swap in some leftover fried pork fat if rendering lard's a common practice in your kitchen. Or if not, just skip the cracklings and charge forward without. So right, now to fry. As we always do when starting to stir fry, first, lang yao. Get that wok piping hot, about steak searing temperature, shut off the heat, and add in the oil. Here we're frying our rice with 2 tablespoons worth of lard, because lard fried rice is incredible, but any oil will do the job. Give it a swirl to get a nice nonstick surface, then swap the flame to medium-low. So first up, go in with your smoked la roe or pork product of choice. Fry for about 90 seconds or until the oil is infused with some of that porky goodness, then toss in your chili paste. Give it a mix and let it fry for about 3 to 5 minutes, but be patient. What you're looking for is for the paste to re-separate and for the oil to look obviously clear again. Then add in the swansai or your fermented veg of choice and fry for another 2 minutes or until the oil becomes clearer once again. Now add in the cracklins and beans, up the flame to high, quick 30 seconds, then in with your day-old rice. Now, the awesome thing about steamed rice is that there's no real work to be done here. Just push it down a touch with your spatula, and you've already got some loose grains just like that. If you're working from leftover rice cooker rice or takeaway rice, this process is a bit more involved. You'll need to alternate between pressing down to break up the clumps and scraping it up from the bottom basically throughout the entire cooking process. So then fry that for about 3 minutes or until you have clear separate grains and you can hear some really light popping sounds coming from the rice. Then at this point, add in 1 tablespoon of dark soy sauce over your spatula and around the sides of the wok, together with a teaspoon of light soy sauce in the same manner. Now fry that for another minute or until the soy sauce is nice and evenly incorporated. Then season with an 1/8 teaspoon salt, 1/2 teaspoon sugar, 1/8 teaspoon MSG, quick mix, herbs in, another quick mix, then toss in 2 teaspoons of dark Chinese vinegar over your spatula and around the sides of the wok. Heat off, out, Guizhou Guailu炒饭, done.
So if you're using your 招辣椒 homemade fermented chili sauce, what you do is that you don't need to pound it with aromatics. You just fry the chili sauce directly till the oil is tinted slightly red and then add your aromatics. Because we didn't pound it, so it doesn't have that much moisture in and you don't need to fry it for that long. Just go until your aromatics is fragrant and move on to the next step. So right, check out the description box for a detailed recipe. A big thank you for everyone that's supporting us on Patreon. And of course, subscribe for more Chinese cooking videos.